It's Elite POV, coming live to your area on twitch.tv.
Let's fucking go!
We are your number one place for everything in the world of all elite wrestling. And just remember, when you're with us, you'll always be elite.
Yo, it's clear to see when you open up your feed that ain't nobody better than Elite POV. We bring the heat to your screen every week, cause ain't nobody better than Elite POV. So understand every time that we speak that ain't nobody better than Elite POV. Our 3 letters is all you'll ever need, cause ain't nobody better than Elite POV. What's up, everybody, and welcome to Elite POV, where it's a sausage party, and you know what that
Sword
means.
fight, baby!
Yeah, it's like all guys' night out.
I am your host, Phil Cataldo, but you can call me Philium, and as you see, we are missing one person. We are
As you
missing
see,
a
we're
very
ugly
special
tonight.
person.
We look hideous tonight.
Yeah. So
Bunch of
Jacky
bums.
is on the show this week. She is traveling for WrestleCade. And of course, with Thanksgiving in the States, she's with her family tonight. So no Jacky this week, but she will be on the show next week to talk all about her experiences and her adventures at WrestleCade this weekend. If you see her at WrestleCade, say what's up to her, say hi, snap a picture. Jacky is live in the chat right now. If you guys are watching live at home, make sure you say what's up to her in the chat. Miss you too, Jacky. And I am alongside the King of Talk Style, back from his Disney vacation,
Hey,
Anthony DiStefano.
there he
What is
is.
going on?
There he is.
Back, broken, busted, and not to be trusted. I am here with no
He
money.
was working on that all week.
Literally, what's funny is I saw Enzo in Disney World, and it's very fitting
You
because
saw
I
the
left
end
there
zone?
with I left there with no dimes. I am broke as fuck. So I'm back. I'm excited to be back. What an episode to come back to. 20 minutes of fucking promo that just had me sweating and taking clothes off. It was insane. But we'll get into that. But it feels good to be back. We miss you, Jacky. And I get to do our show. This is like our first official show with Kyle that I'm doing.
How was
That's
the
not like
Disney hoot?
his intro. Disney was fun. It was very long days, like 13-hour days of just craziness and lines and people.
You
and
did everything, right? You did like the whole thing.
I did it all. Yeah, it was.
The nookie? Did you do it all for the nookie?
I did not get any nookie in Disney World. No,
Yeah, the kids are there.
no, I did. I don't. I had a lot of cookies though. So
Oh.
And that third voice you hear is the Canadian Prince, who is not celebrating Thanksgiving because they don't do that in Canada. Mr. Kyle Masters, what is up?
Well, hold on. We do it in Canada. We do it like
Well,
a
you don't
month.
do
We
it
do
when
it
we
a
do it.
month earlier.
no, it's called apologize giving because all they do is fucking apologize. Sorry, I'm sorry.
We do
Sorry.
it right though, because
we won't say
hold
sorry
on.
to each other for
I'm
3 hours.
I'm just gonna say we do it right. We keep Halloween and Thanksgiving the same month, so we have a month break until Christmas. You know what I mean? That's the proper way to do it. You give it a sufficient break in between holidays. Just saying. But anyways,
Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? Yes, I'm rocking the Jamie Hayter shirt again. Hater's gonna hate. I just went and created while we were watching Dynamite tonight. Created my own shirt. Can't reveal it yet. I'll make it a surprise and I'll reveal it on the show when it does ship. But with everything like backed up right now, I don't even know when it's gonna get here. It said shipping said I'll get it between December 7th and 28th.
No, let's say you'll get it between December or March.
Yeah, December
Nice
or
solution,
next Christmas. So
Yeah. So Pro Wrestling Tees shipping is what you basically mean. So it's pretty much the same thing. But Ant kind of teased it before, and I definitely want to jumpstart this show by talking about the promo segment, 21 minutes of fire, heard round the world, kept getting better and better and better. And you're the CM Punk guy, along with Kyle, but you weren't on the show last week. So I definitely want to get your thoughts on how great it was to start off AEW Dynamite with that surprising promo segment.
It was definitely something I thought was going to happen, right? You're in Chicago. It's CM Punk's home turf. It's the loudest crowd. They're rowdy. and you needed something to really jumpstart like the night. It's a big night. A lot of people are watching. It's right before Thanksgiving. How do you start the show off hot? You bring CM Punk out in his hometown and you let MJF and him get on the microphone. I was surprised at how long it went because in my eyes, I'm like, okay, they're probably gonna do like a 5-minute thing here. Next week they'll hit it again. They literally just fucking unload on each other for 20 minutes. And MJF is the best talker in pro wrestling. And there's no way you can even discredit that. And even as a Punk guy, like MJF, his shots, they just were so great and so snobby and asshole-ish, and he plays that perfect heel where he brings up stuff that we've said it before that you really don't think people will bring up. And then I thought Punk was like taken aback by it, but then the CM Punk that we all remembered came out. The CM Punk that shit talk. He wasn't happy to be here. He was literally on the microphone talking shit. Like I thought when Eddie Kingston and Punk went against each other on the mic, I thought Eddie Kingston got the better of it, right? Tonight I would call that a draw. And not Jacky, we miss you, draw. But we saw MJF go hard and we saw Punk almost revert back to the guy that we remembered 7 years ago where you're like, just give that guy a microphone and let him go. It was perfect. There's a lot of WWE hints in there. I know like the marks for WWE, like you can't do anything without
the drones coming.
Yeah.
They coming.
But CM Punk spent most of his career there. A lot of like that's where CM Punk rose to the level that he's at is because WWE. So of course they're going to reference his past, as they should. They should reference everyone's past.
I mean,
and
they
Punk
didn't
did the
shit
same
talk
thing.
anybody. They didn't shit talk WWE. They literally put the Miz and John Cena over.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Oh, I mean, for Punk to even bring up the Miz because he hates the Miz. I mean, when he said that, I'm like, God damn, that shot was like. That was a good shot. The Cena thing, the Triple H thing, it was just perfectly executed with a little innuendo for the smart fans. But even if you weren't a smart fan and you didn't know what's going on, you're like, God, these guys are throwing daggers at each other because like not many people knew that MJF's on the Rosie O'Donnell show when he was 4. You know what I mean? Like there's little hints in there. Like it was just fucking beautiful. And when it ended, I was like, can we get 20 more minutes, please? Like, can we just I'm sorry, QT. I know I'm like the leader of the QT Marshall fan club for the Monster Factory, but like, don't even have the fucking match. Just let these guys talk.
Right.
And I know that Kyle, I think you were saying it while we were watching it live together. Like AEW never starts with a promo segment; they always start with a match. So like, how do you feel?
Transitioning.
Yeah, they have been. They've been switching it up, but I mean, I think this is the first time they started with a promo. Definitely the first time they started with a promo segment that was 20 minutes.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, it wasn't last week. That was was it last week? No, it's the week before the celebrate. No, yeah, it was last week. The celebration. You're
right. They did start with a promo with
but
that,
like,
yeah.
they're hitting. Like I think they're not, I don't think we should get used to it. Kind of like WWE does it on a regular. They
said it though, but Tony Khan said he's going to be switching stuff up, and if fans don't like it, he'll always revert back. And I think this is what you're seeing is the more, I hate to say it, entertainment side of things.
Well, I was going to say if it warrants, it, like these two things were warning. It was Hangman's big time and big celebration in his hometown, and this is a promo battle that everyone's been waiting to see since CM Punk stepped foot in AEW back in August. People have been waiting for this. That's why I tweeted, I'm like, this is what everybody's been waiting for, and it's happening right now in AEW. So the reason I'm thinking that they went full tilt and they went full 20 minutes is because this match is happening in 2 weeks at the Long Island show. So they're going to have like another like brawl or something next week, and then bam, it's going to be announced next week that the following week on Dynamite, MJF and Punk are going to go one-on-one.
Do you think that because of some shenanigans that MJF would win that match?
I think MJF beats Punk. I think Punk doesn't need a win. MJF obviously doesn't, but I really truly think MJF's going to be the man to take the belt off Hangman Page, and I don't think it's going to be Danielson. I think that it's going to be MJF, and I think they're going to start building that with him beating Punk, and then they're just going to ride it all the way to him. And then calling himself the best in the world and all that. You could just do so much more with MJF winning than you can with Punk winning. Punk wins, you're kind of like, okay, Punk's back, you know? But we don't care about Punk in the title. We know what we wanted All Out. We want Punk versus Omega. That's the match we want. We want the best battle for the best in the world. MJF can win the title there. Like, you could have so many big matches that, you know, we could have with Punk not having a title. And I don't think Punk needs a title, right? I think Punk himself is a draw. It's an entity. Like, you're going to tune in to watch him wrestle anyway. Just as, like, I don't think Danielson needs a title right now. So I think MJF is the next champion, and that's why he's going to beat Punk. It's going to be the biggest notch on his belt. Like, it's going to be the thing. Like, I'm the guy who beat CM Punk when he was unbeatable when he came back.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It makes the most sense. And plus, maybe this is it's not a one-off. So even if Punk loses, this is a feud that they give for a couple months. It'll be the first real feud that Punk has had in the company.
I mean, Punk brought it up in his promo, like that MJF, all he does is he wins with help, right? And what if this is a time where he does win with help again, and then that leads to them feuding continuing, and then it leads to some sort of match stipulation where MJF is not going to get help at all from anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And then
eventually we have to get the MJF Wardlow thing. That has to happen within the next 8 months. You know what I mean? Because it's just been building up. They've kind of eased on it too, though.
Yeah, they've been going up and down. It's like they bring it up
Wardlow
1 week
wasn't
and then
even with them tonight. That's
yeah.
weird.
They've been doing that for the past year.
Yeah, there was instances during the COVID era that they were teasing it, but they never go through with it. It's like they tease it and then we kind of forget about it. So I don't know if there's a plan for that. I assume there's a plan eventually for something like that to happen, but I think it's gonna wait for the right opportunity. That maybe when MJF does win the championship, that's when Wardlow turns on him. So
that'd be cool.
We'll see.
Right? Really, the future of the company, right? Because you go Hangman, MJF,
but hell,
possibly Wardlow.
These two went it caught everybody off guard how extremely hard they went in at each other, God. Bringing up every reference imaginable to both their entire lives, like MJF dissing him about his UFC career, Punk dissing him about being in the Rosie O'Donnell show and saying I know you had a poster of me on your wall, bringing up all this history between the two, and it was just perfect. It was so spot on. And
the thing I like about MJF though is he leans into it. He's like, "Yeah, I had a poster on your wall, but now I don't. You suck now."
Yeah, he claps back. He's good at clapping back. Yeah,
it's funny because it felt, and again, it does feel like Punk is the hustle, loyalty, respect guy, right? It does feel like he's in that Cena position. And my favorite Punk promo besides the pipe bomb is when he was talking to Triple H and he said, "I want the old you. Nobody wants the new you. The new you sucks." And it's exactly what MJF was saying.
I got a question.
So I love that they have little Easter eggs throughout Punk's career that they kind of revert back to now. I think that's beautiful storytelling.
So you think it's because when CM Punk was cutting out all these famous promos and during the time that when he became known for being excellent on the mic was during a time where he legitimately didn't like being in the place that he was in. Mm-hmm. And, that all came from the heart. Now that he's in a place that he loves to be in, I don't think he really has that fuel to, this is a new territory for him. He's got to write and think of promos that are against the guy he's with. He's not doing. He's not cutting promos.
Society, though. The straight edge society, he was.
But they weren't as good as his run when he hated the company. When he's cutting promos against the company or against him.
I mean, listen, I agree with you, but it's easy to Stone Cold Steve Austin. That gimmick's easy. You hate your boss. You hate your job. Welcome to fucking the real reality, right? We all go to work. We hate our job. So that's an easier thing to speak on than to talk trash to someone, especially on MJF's level, because his wit, I think a lot of times Punk can outwit people and make them sound like an idiot. And I think with MJF, Punk's outwitted. And I think that might be the first time I could say that Punk is outwitted. Punk's usually the king of comebacks. Mm-hmm. I don't think you can throw something at MJF that he's not going to throw back at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't outwit MJF, especially right now. It's not possible.
That's what you think. It's going to be a good nod because I believe both of you that MJF's going to be the one to pin Punk, and that's like a big approval from Punk to have his first loss in AEW to a guy like MJF, who I'm assuming Punk sees a lot of himself in when it comes to obviously the promo work, because they just both went extremely hard at each other and both hit a brick wall.
My two. All right, so I want to hear everybody's favorite line from the promo. I'll give you two from me. MJF saying, your finishing move is go to sleep, but judging by the bags under your eyes, you need to go to sleep.
Man.
Love that.
And then when he was like, for someone who's straight edge, you sure do look like a meth head.
That was bad. I was like, oh.
I liked Punk's line. I don't know the quote exactly, but he's like, yeah, I fall, but I get back up. But the only time you win is when you get back up. And I was like, fuck, that's such a good fire ass line.
Yeah.
Like that
That's
line
like a
was
fucking
like
rap verse. Yeah.
dope. Yeah, exactly. I thought he was gonna be like, everybody from the 3-1. I was getting hyped. But dude, I'm telling you, that promo, it's something I'm gonna get off this show. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna wake up tomorrow. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna watch. And I love this evolution of Punk. Like, he said that the plans were bigger for him, and we're starting to see it. First off, that Eddie Kingston feud that was built in like 4 days was fucking flames, right? It was amazing. And then you're like, oh my God, look, Punk's kind of back. And then they throw him right into MJF. Like, that to me tells me that now, like, the training wheels are off. Like, you had like a little bit of time to learn to ride the bike again. Now it's time to race the bike, you know? And I can't wait. I mean, there's so much good in this company. And you have these guys like MJF and the pillars. And I love the Britt Baker line, because how true is that? Like, we talk about these pillars of AEW. The most popular young star is Britt Baker. And she kind of gets not grouped as one of the originals, but she was the face of the women's division from day one. She is a pillar.
She's
So
the
I
first
love that
woman
Punk-
signed to AEW.
Yep.
Punk brought that up. It was
Now,
amazing.
Jacky in the chat saying her favorite line was, the only time you'll be on top is if you wait for Tony Khan to have a daughter for you to marry.
A diss to Triple H in its own right, too. Mine has to still be the, I was selling out Madison Square Garden while you were marking out on Rosie O'Donnell.
God, man. These guys are incredible. They're amazing. Definitely a highlight for the week. So if for whatever reason you were listening to us and haven't gotten a chance to watch Dynamite, it is a must watch to watch those 21 minutes of absolute fire. Now, the match that I want to transition to next is a match that left Kyle a little sad. And that is, of course, Thunder Rosa versus Jamie Hayter. I see Kyle messing with the graphic on Twitch. It's funny. So Thunder Rosa versus Jamie Hayter in the second round of the TBS tournament. I'm going to start with you, Kyle. What'd you think of the match, and what'd you think of the ending?
Obviously, great match, man. Thunder Rosa is like, she says it, didn't she say like Chicago's like her second home? Like the crowd just absolutely loves Rosa in Chicago, and it was a good match. It was a great match. You know, I'm thinking of the finish. I'm like, hey, if Hayter wins, how is she gonna win? As soon as like Reba was distracting the ref, I'm like, oh, okay, here it is. Britt's gonna cause the win for Jamie Hayter, and that's gonna piss off Thunder Rosa, and then they're gonna feud. Even though like I still think they're gonna feud now because of what happened, but now the way it works out, now it's like, okay, so are they planning to do a break off? Is Hayter gonna go off on her own, because that's what it looked like at the end.
It seems like it, yeah.
Sucks because I was so hyped for her to win. I thought this was gonna be like the upset of the tournament, and they were gonna swerve everybody. And I'm still happy that it's still gonna work out the way it's going right now, because the semifinals look absolutely fiery. We're gonna have.
You don't have to worry about it. My girl will handle it.
I was gonna say we have Jade and we have Jade now and Thunder Rosa, and then we also have like the other matches happening. So like, oh man,
yeah, we have Nyla versus the winner of Ruby and Chris Statlander, which Ruby and Statlander take place on next week's Dynamite.
Yeah, so I'm all right. She's gonna bounce back. Hayter's gonna be.
I think the storyline's bigger for Hayter, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think she was going to be the first TBS champion, but I think this is a way to develop her and give her more of a backstory with the feud with Britt. So I'm in for it. Like,
Hayter could be the the in between until Rosa gets to Britt. You know, maybe Jamie.
It'll be a
yeah.
bigger it'll be a bigger spotlight on Hayter than her just winning a tournament and you're like, "Oh, look, she won." Like to have her at odds with someone that she was like the security guard for. She was like Britt's like bodyguard.
Mm-hmm.
Every great story with the bodyguard ends with the bodyguard eventually beating them. It's going to happen with Wardlow and MJF. It happened with Diesel and Shawn. It's going to happen with Hayter and Britt. And I think that is something we have to be patient for because much like Jade, Hayter's a little bit better in the ring, I do think, but I don't think the fans are ready for her to be champ. If that makes sense, like they're not prone to her. They don't know her like they know a Thunder Rosa or a Ruby Soho. Like as much as I want Jade to win, I don't think they're going to put the belt on Jade. I think Soho's winning the whole tournament because it's a recognizable face for your TBS show.
Mm-hmm. That's 100%. It's 100% what I think. I've been saying it from the beginning. But as a match, thought the match was incredible. Like Kyle said, I think that I see people in the chat talking about the Thunder Rosa pop in Chicago. The Thunder Rosa pop anywhere. Like the phrase Thunder Rosa pop is like a phrase in wrestling.
Hard hitting this
because
match.
she gets cheered.
It was a great match.
Yeah.
It was great. It was awesome. Great spots, right? It just Thunder Rosa has chemistry with like almost anybody, right? And maybe it's because she has her own like wrestling school and she runs her own independent promotion, all female promotion with Mission Pro Wrestling, and maybe that's why she's used to kind of having to wrestle with people of all different levels of experience. But I don't know.
I do like what the professor brought up, Monty. Hayter was always on the edge of the Brick group. She didn't do the DMD finger pointing. Yeah, she didn't like drink the Kool-Aid. She didn't buy into what Britt was selling. So maybe there's always been that kind of animosity there. Again, like the little stuff like that is what AEW does so well. Like a little thing like not doing this could lead to a feud. Like that's what I fucking love about
this. The
thing
I fear, and it's a horrible fear to have, is if they do this split, don't forget about Jamie after that. Just because she's not part of the whole Brit faction, they can't really forget her and let her get lost in the shuffle because that's an easy thing to do.
Did you hear the crowd tonight?
No,
there was rival chants. Yeah. There was rival chants. I don't think you can forget about someone who gets cheered like that against Thunder Rosa, who's maybe one of the most popular stars on your roster. They were getting Thunder Rosa, let's go Hayter, like back and forth. So I think, they listen to the crowd, and that's what I love. If you react to someone, they're going to push someone. Look at Eddie Kingston, like prime example, right?
Is this a case though that this is just Chicago? If this was in like Virginia or
I don't
Kansas
think
City,
dueling chance in a smaller market.
But I get it's all about how you build this though, because now fans have seen that people like Jamie Hayter. Not a shot at wrestling fans. Wrestling fans, a lot of them are followers of trends, right? That trend now is Jamie Hayter's cool,
or throwing a belt back into the ring.
We'll get to that. Trust me. So something else was kind of announced tonight that I want to get your guys' opinions on. On January 8th, Battle of the Belts is happening. It is a Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern, which is a shock. We all assumed that it would just be a Dynamite episode, kind of how Grand Slam was. So I think it's really cool that it's moving to Saturday. Ant, what do you think about this decision by AEW?
I think I mentioned this, that when they announced it, it was going to be one of those 4 special events that TNT will be running for them. And that's going to be Battle of the Belts will probably happen every January on TNT. The Arthur Ashe show was probably going to be another one that gets moved. I thought all along that this was going to be like one of their mini pay-per-views on TNT to start the new year. I love Saturday night shows. I'm fucking hyped for it. We can do a post show afterwards, which is even better. Like I get excited for that.
Well, you guys can.
Yeah, you'll
because I work in the morning. That would be one of the shows that I miss.
Tired Boy is the worst.
Tired Boy is the worst.
I Battle of the Belts is so much fun. Like I always loved Night of Champions when it was done properly and they weren't like feuds that you knew were gonna shock us, and they have shocked us, like with Winter is Coming. They shocked us. Omega beat Moxley on TV. You know what I mean? It wasn't a pay-per-view. Like, so I'm fucking all for the title matches. I do think we see a couple title changes. I think they start a whole new kind of direction with that show. and I'm very excited for it. And Jacky's literally gifting subs to ourselves. So thank you, Jacky.
Yeah. So Kyle, the question I have for you is, do you think that this is going to be an AEW only event? Because the graphic only showed the AEW champions, or do you think that they bring in, like an NWA or MLW or so these other companies to kind of have dual promotions going?
Well, I know it's not going to be New Japan because that's night of Wrestle Kingdom 2, I believe. It's night 2 when they have the New Japan versus Noah that night. It's interesting that it's on a Saturday. They've done all special Dynamites and special Rampages on their respective nights. This is the first special show that's on a different night. That's not a pay-per-view. Saturdays are always known for AEW's pay-per-views. The fact that this is a special event show and not a pay-per-view, but they're treating it as a pay-per-view makes it that much more bigger. So you're in your in-between. So you got like your regular show, then like a little bit above that, you have your special shows like a Winter is Coming, a Bash at the Beach, etc. And then we're gonna have then you would have your pay-per-view. But now we're getting another sliver put in between that with this Battle of the Belts, because being a Saturday show and it's a 7 p.m. start time. So this is gonna be a big show.
No more BS.
I'm curious.
No more BS.
They didn't mention time-wise how long it's going to be. I'm curious to see how long it's going to be. Is it going to be 2 hours? Are they going to go like 1 extra hour just for this? Is it going to be 3 hours? And it's interesting. So they had the graphic of all the champions on there, so you can only assume that every belt will be on the line. Now, in saying that, I'm thinking about it. That's probably going to be Bryan Danielson, Hangman Page that night. So
that's what I'm thinking they're building towards. Yeah.
The TBS title, is that going to be decided on that night?
They said the TBS
Battle for the
title,
Belts. No, it's in Newark.
TBS
It's
title
on
be
the
on the
5th.
Okay.
on the
Okay, they did decide that. Okay, never mind.
Yeah,
So
in Newark.
I'll retract back here. Now, thinking about it now, the women's title, is that going to be Thunder Rosa and Britt? Because I can't see Thunder Rosa I still think now, looking at the tournament, it's almost certain it's going to be Jade. Jade's going to be the first TBS champion.
I don't know. I think Ruby Soho is.
It's Ruby Soho.
Or Ruby Soho? Okay.
I love Jade, right? If Jade wins, I'll mark the fuck out, right? But
if you go by the way the company has booked titles before, it always goes to kind of the veteran person. Only Riho was the only one.
Yeah.
But remember Riho. Remember Riho.
Nyla's going to crush everybody.
Kenny. When Kenny used to book the women's division by himself, and then Tony took it over. So this is different now, right? So Jericho winning, then you had SCU winning, who were veterans, and then you had Cody winning the TNT title. So I think that if we follow that, it all makes sense that it's going to be Ruby. She's the biggest star left, right? Because she came from WWE. She had a bigger name on the indies. And then Jade will win a belt eventually. There's no rushing it.
See, I can see them also doing Ruby because I remember the fans were screaming for her to be a women's champion in WWE, and she never got that, right? So this is probably also like, we're going to make you a champion if you're coming here.
In every interview, Tony Khan talks about Ruby Soho. He always puts her over to the moon. And I just think that it makes the most sense to make it Ruby. She could work with the division, and similar to the way where I know Cody lost to Brody, and then he ended up getting it back when Brody got sick. But remember, Cody passed it to Darby. And I think that is what happens here, where Ruby has it, and maybe she loses it to a Ty Conti, right? Maybe she loses it to a Statlander or Jamie Hayter or someone like that, and then we keep it going. But I think it starts with Ruby.
Yeah.
I think, and listen, I'm the biggest fucking Jade mark in the world. I don't think the TBS title's for Jade. I think Jade's gonna win the main women's title. Will be her first title. I think she might be the one who beats Britt Baker.
No, I still think that's Thunder Rosa.
I don't
know. Maybe Thunder Rosa beats her in this tournament, giving her
the
first
story's
loss.
There for Thunder.
And then a year later, it comes back. Jade beats Thunder for the title after Thunder beats Britt.
Britt and Thunder is like Hangman and Kenny. Like, we all know that Thunder, the end game is going to be Thunder taking it off Britt.
You want to hear the beautiful thing about this? In about 50, 60 days, there's going to be a lot more women's talent in AEW. That could vie for titles, right?
Maybe, potentially.
But no, it's going to happen.
I know he's got an eye on one. He's got an eye on one.
the beautiful thing is we're sitting here talking about multiple people we think could win,
Yep.
where maybe last year this conversation's totally different.
And the only thing that's changed is experience, because other than adding Ruby, they haven't added anybody new from outside the companies. Like, yeah, this new wave, the Taya Valkyries, the Ember Moons, the CJ Perrys, like, yeah, they might come in. I think fucking Lana is basically a lock to come in, as much as Miro mentions her. But besides Ruby, they haven't brought in anybody else. So this is literally just them taking their time and booking their women's division the proper way. So all the people who hated on it last year, jump aboard now, because it's fucking
How are you
awesome.
not aboard now, right? Like, if you were still not aboard this women's division, I don't know what you're watching, because it is on fire right now. If you look, you zoom out and you look exactly at what this division's doing right now, yes, we can all agree that there should be more women's matches on Dynamite, Rampage, etc. The women's division right now is stacked for AEW. They've built up all their homegrown talent up, and they've incorporated
And
the
the
newer
funny thing
talent
is,
into
like,
it.
You still have great talent that's on dark. Like Kiara Hogan to me,
Yeah.
that's someone that could come up and like be a major player for you.
Some of the
And
Joshis
she's just-
too.
Yep.
She's kind of lost in the shuffle, like she said she is. But that's what happens when you join a company when they already have storylines kind of going, right?
Hey,
You're
if
not
Maki
just gonna-
Ito ever wants to move here, she'll be the most like popular star in the women's division.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. And like,
There's gonna be big names. Like we're seeing the big male superstars names leaving WWE. Like they're hinting, like they are literally telling us like Kyle O'Reilly's
He's coming.
right?
If
Like-
tonight didn't prove it, you can clearly see that it was like a buy time segment. Like,
Yeah.
hey, what can we do until Kyle gets here? Okay, best friends, get in there. Go make fun of Undisputed Era. Do the little
especially
thing.
now with Kenny being off TV for a long time, and with them saying, "Oh, the Bucks aren't cleared," like, all right, like you said, Adam and Bobby Fish are going to be there, and they're basically telling us. And we could transition right to that promo, because I thought that promo was fantastic, and my favorite part was when Chuck Taylor does doing this or whatever, doing like the bird,
Yes,
like
sorry, we're
making
not
fun of
best friends like
Undisputed
you
Era.
guys doing this.
Yeah, it's hilarious, man. Like, but see, this is what I've said week after week. AEW exists in the real world, and yes, legally they can't say Undisputed Era. Legally, they can't say Triple H or John Cena or whatever, which is weird that they got to say the Miz, but whatever.
I just don't think.
Well, they
Punk
said
gives a fuck.
Miz. They might be okay with just Miz, because I'm pretty sure WWE has the Miz.
Oh, it's like
Yeah.
stuff like that. But like, I think it's cool that even though they
Mike
can't say,
Mazanian has the Miz copyright.
But who knows? Because they
copywritten
said hustle,
himself.
loyalty, and respect, and I have to
He-
doubt that WWE does not.
That
they have to
you
have
can
that.
Say it. You could say you can't print it, right?
Yeah, I
That's
guess.
what a copyright is. But like, I think Mike Mazarian or whatever his name is has Miz copywritten himself, because he used to call himself that on the Real World.
yeah.
So I think he probably took that and copyrighted.
Who
it.
knows, man? WWE loves to own your real name, so.
So Ali in the chat saying Miz was on Dancing with the Stars is the Miz. Yeah,
Okay.
WWE. It's a WWE
It's an
thing.
agreement, yeah.
This is similar to how whenever the Bella Twins do anything, they're still the Bella Twins, because everything kind of goes through them first. So it's like they're lending the Miz to Dancing with the Stars. But yeah, even that backstage promo was great, and we tease an Adam Cole and Orange Cassidy standoff, which I know Ant's not excited about because he hates sunshines and rainbows and Orange Cassidy.
Oh my god!
Well, I think this is perfect though, because I think the Bucks being injured right now is it's. I'm not trying to say it's a good thing that they're injured, but it's a good way, because then you can bring in a Kyle O'Reilly, and then they can play off that. The Bucks come back from injury going, who the hell is this guy?
Well, it's a way to turn the Bucks and Omega face right when they get back and make the Elite popular as a face faction again. But you don't know, right? We're sitting here saying that, but what if Undisputed Era joins and then Cole turns on them, and then Owens is here, and now here we go with Mount Rushmore. Like,
Maybe.
we know. I mean, I'm 100% certain Kevin Steen is coming. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
I don't see why he wouldn't, right? Now you have like Gargano, who just was like, all right, yeah, give me one more week on my contract. Like you could have.
He knows he's got nothing left to do in WWE. Owens there right now. He has nothing left to do.
Owens has nothing. Owens has accomplished. He hit his ceiling, right? He's peaked.
And if he wants to continue wrestling, then you leave the company.
He's hit that Chris Jericho when Chris Jericho was leaving. Like you're in important segments, but you're never going to win the big one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's when Jericho's like, I got to go because I want to win the big one. I want to be
looking for eggs, you know?
Yeah. Oh, well, I don't know what's going on in that company because I don't really watch it, but who's going to be the big surprise that winter is coming? Ed says, Wyndham is coming.
Possibly, yeah.
Winter is going to change to Wyndham.
I mean, that's smart because like look what now like they're already they're promoting his 2022 schedule, right? Like they're like companies are like indie companies and stuff are promoting. Okay, we can book Wyndham now. That almost screams.
Yeah, he's starting to announce like meet and greets and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I saw one in Albany, and it's in like March. They're starting to announce, so he's getting back out there. He's starting to go back into the wild. So wherever he signs, whether it's AEW or the rumored Impact, it's gonna happen.
There's no way.
Here's my thing. All right, we're gonna sit here and talk about ratings and making money. I don't think Impact can afford him. Let's be real. Impact draws like 150,000 people watching their show.
Yeah.
Wyndham, Bray Wyatt just got out of $1 million a year contract. You're not going to pay him that. I mean, I don't think.
He's also a big pro wrestler, by the way. He loves pro wrestling, so it screams AEW. He just screams AEW.
He to me becomes. So they're starting to do it. You see it a lot with Malachi Black, that mysterious character who cuts vignettes in the back. I cannot imagine a world where Wyndham, Bray Wyatt, has full creative control over his character. It is going to blow our minds. Mm-hmm. In my eyes, this is, everyone compared him. Oh, he could be the Undertaker. He could be. This is his time where he could be that entity that is always brought up as the best character of all time. Is if he has creative freedom, he could become the greatest character in pro wrestling, right? And
I know a lot of people like myself, you stop to think and be like, could Wyndham be on the same roster as a Malachi, given that when, Bray had that character, it's very similar to what Malachi is doing with the whole spooky character thing. But I just told myself in my own head, as you were saying that, we don't know if Wyndham is going to be the Fiend or if he's going to be cult leader Bray Wyatt.
I love the cult leader is my favorite.
He keeps saying cult of Wyndham, right? He keeps saying that on social media and stuff like that. What if he goes back to that cult leader of the Wyatt family type of stuff?
You could be a cult leader and you could have that alter ego where you fucking bring out the monster. Like believe me, him and Malachi are talented and creative enough to not cross. Yeah. To make it so I'm not worried about that at all. And fuck, you never know. Maybe
it already happens, right? We have Adam Cole and we have Budge on the same roster and they coexist.
Pretty much the same guy, right?
Yeah. Pretty much almost the same guy and they coexist. And everybody in the company is either Cage or Gage or Page or
yeah.
So they're fine. They'll figure it out.
He knows he'll get.
I don't want to.
I was just gonna say he's a creative person. He loves showing his art. You're not gonna get the views on your art in Impact, unfortunately.
Yeah,
your eyes are on AEW now. AEW is the hottest product in the entire world right now. Why wouldn't you go? Sorry,
Jamie pop.
I got that pop. I got that pop ski too. But who? Why wouldn't you want to go to AEW where you can show all this? Your creative talent.
And that's what I think too. And I know it's unpopular, but Allie, I can agree with you. Braun Strowman, Adam Scherr hasn't been anywhere. And I think I think Dakota Wyndham is going to be Eric Redbeard Rowan. It's going to be the Wyatt family. And it's going to be what Bray wanted the Wyatt family to be. And I think it's going to be fucking beautiful. And again, Braun Strowman doesn't have to be a main event talent for you, but you could utilize him and showcase him because at one time he was the hottest act in pro wrestling. Like it, love it, hate it, leave it. It doesn't matter. Everyone was saying, get these hands. We all had to get these hands shirt. So the guy has talent. He has watchability. It's just, let's see what happens if you put these guys in a dimension where they can create themselves and they can be monsters.
And I'm for
a
a team.
Be creepy.
If they want to be together, if they have some, if they put their minds together and they want to do something with the House of Black, you know, and the Cult of Wyndham, and they combine, and they're just two like these two monsters that create these insane promos together. Oh my God, man, the money they're gonna print.
That'd be great.
I just want the feud. I want Black
feud.
First.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I know, like, to me, I love Wyndham. He's been my top 5. He's in my top 5 because his character work. I don't think when he gets in the ring, I don't think he's put on 5-star classics. But the thing I can say about AEW is the storytelling in the ring. Thank you, Kyle. Exactly. Is that you could have this guy create stories inside a ring that you weren't going to let him tell any other company.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot of people who aren't the greatest wrestlers, but man, like this, like to me, Cody Rhodes isn't in the top 20 wrestlers in that company. But when the story's right, the matches are better than some of the guys who are better wrestlers because of the story. Him versus Dustin, one of my favorite AEW matches of all time because of the story. The match, move for move, there wasn't anything that you're like, holy shit. You were just like intrigued by a story. So if these guys are coming over and if you see, you know, the Undisputed Era to circle back around, right? I feel more comfortable with them in this kind of company where they can dictate what they do.
It's a good sell for the company too, because then you sell your company on, we have the best pro wrestling in the world, but then, you know, you want to grab that other side of the audience who appreciate storytelling and would love to see storytelling in a ring. You also have that for them as well. So when you combine great pro wrestling, great storytelling in a ring, you have, pun intended, an elite company like AEW. And that's why it's the hottest company in the world, regardless of what the drones want to say on Twitter and regardless of what the haters want to say. AEW is the hottest company in the world right now.
Oh yeah, by far.
Yeah.
By far.
And you know, bringing up Malachi, let's transition right over to the main event, which was FTR Andrade in his trunks, which was blowing Kyle's mind.
I've never heard somebody talk about trunks more.
It just threw me right off.
The way I felt about CM Punk wearing the long boys, where I'm like, what is he doing, is exactly how Kyle was talking.
It was during picture in picture because I'm like, oh, Black's in the ring. I'm like, wait, that's not Aleister Black, or that's not Malachi Black. Who is that? And I thought like someone jumped the ring, and I'm like, oh wait, that's Andrade.
Maybe Andrade's transitioning to the House of Black, and he's getting tights, and he's gonna start fucking painting his face and shit.
That was his test.
Weird and stuff like that.
That was his test.
Yo, listen, he might be going through a breakup. We have Emo Andrade. Leave him alone. The
guys, halfway through the ring, halfway through the match, I'm just gonna rip my pants off.
He don't need to be on Tinder. He's just showing the thigh meat now. He might be single. You know, he needs a new queen.
He's putting himself out there. He needs a new queen because Burger King put, you know, cheese on her, whatever. And she's vegan, you know. No honey mustard on
Andrade's
the side.
pants ripped, so he took them off.
I don't know what's going on with that whole story though.
I bed with my wife, and she says, "Well, you have other pants."
I'm just confused about that whole story because like it's rumors, and you know, Ric Flair is nuts right now. There's rumors say that he's for sure going to be he's going to turn up in AEW any day now.
No, not happening.
We'll see.
Yeah,
he came out today.
Put out those feelers.
And I don't know if you've seen today. He came out today and says he'll never go back to WWE as long as Nick Khan is still there.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck what Ric Flair does. How about that? Here, breaking news.
You tell me you don't want to see Jay Lethal and Ric Flair go into another argument again?
No, because I got it once, and now I don't need 85.
I need that around two, man. I need that around two.
Skin and saggy tits. I don't need the.
I need him to thrust at a ringside girl one more time.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're not lying.
Listen, the last time
I can make any girl cry, including that fat one.
Was when he was in the Offset video, and I'm like, oh shit, Ric Flair's cool. And it lasted like 2 weeks, and that song fucking got played out, and I was like, okay, fuck Ric Flair.
I know, I'm just playing.
But now, so the main event match was FTR, Andrade, and Malachi Black versus Cody and Death Triangle. So, Kyle, we have a lot of thoughts about this segment, including the stuff with Cody Rhodes in his belt. You had a lot to say while we were watching live. So I'm going to start off with you, Kyle. What did you think about the Cody Rhodes belt stuff?
A lot of goons at ringside. Like, I know Chicago was a hot crowd, but damn, they were gooning it up in, like, the front row there during this match. Like they're doing like Olay chants and trying to start a wave. I'm like, what are you doing? You're seeing like the most epic match that WWE wishes they could do on TV. That AEW's giving it to you here in the main event. Y'all are chanting Olay Olay and doing the wave. And then we got the whole throwing the belt thing, which was so stupid. It is so dumb. Especially a belt. That's like a belt's different than a t-shirt, okay? This is let's just put that out there. There's no comparing this to the one night stand incident because that was a t-shirt. This is a belt, and you hit Aubrey of all people who had nothing to do with this whole thing. And I love how Andrade threw the belt on the ring and said, yeah, that's it. Where I think he was just legitimately pissed at that. And he threw the belt under the ring to end this. The thing I didn't like is that Cody went and got the belt back. You should have nixed it.
As a performer, that crowd was fucking going nuts, and you need to feed into it because everybody wants Cody to be a heel.
But it's during a match.
Cody
but you're supposed to pay attention to the match. You're not supposed to pay attention to Cody.
But everybody
people are doing insane moves. These wrestlers are putting their bodies.
How mad are you that Cody threw it? How mad are you? How mad?
I'm mad that he went and got the belt because it's ruining.
Exactly.
Can you let me finish? Let me finish. 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 I'm saying I'm mad at Cody because the wrestlers in the ring who were actually creating an insane match was getting sidetracked, and the crowd was sidetracked because of it, because of what Cody Rhodes was doing when you were supposed to be paying attention to the match. Shit was happening in the match that had legit that made sense for the ending of the match while Cody was doing that.
Yeah, so you booed Cody.
No. Yeah, but
I don't like that Cody
it's taking away from the match.
Everybody wants him to be a heel, so he fucking heels it up. And I don't agree with
if you're not gonna go full on heel, don't do that. Leave the belt under the ring.
That's the beauty of it. That's what he's trying to do. And Aubrey Edwards tweeted, by the way, Cody always says, "Don't freak out if the belt comes back, but at least aim at the right person," is what she said. Like, yeah, you fucking horrible throw, Chicago. No wonder why your quarterback play sucks.
Yeah, exactly. You ain't lying about that. But it's just one of the things for me, and I agree with Kyle 100%. In AEW, the wrestling comes first. And yes, if it was Cody in a singles match and you're trying to get the other person over and you're doing all this stuff, fine. But if you have Rey Fenix doing death-defying stuff and Malachi doing all this cool stuff and FTR and I want to see it. I want to pay attention. Even for me, all my favorite guys are on one team on one side. All I kept thinking about was the crowd and thinking about where's the belt going now and what are they. The whole crowd is looking to the right because they're looking at Cody picking up the belt or looking to see if the person's gonna throw it back on the other side when he threw it into the crowd a second time. And then you have to have, like Kyle said while we were watching live, you had Alex running around the outside trying to get the crowd up to pay attention. And it's like, yo, that's not what we do in AEW. And Chicago should know better because Chicago is the best crowd.
And if Cody was in the ring, if Cody was in the ring, if he was in the ring, not at ring, if he wasn't on the other side of the rope and he was in the ring, fine. That's part of what was going on in the ring at that time. But the fact that he was on the
advocate, though, again, when is Rey Fenix not doing something that's like fucking insane?
I want to watch it every week, though. I don't want to see it one week and then say, okay, I already seen this. I don't want to watch it the next week after.
I don't like that he did it, right? But I'm just saying, if this is the character he's going for, there's a time and a place. But if everybody's clamoring for him to do stuff to keep getting heat, and then he does it, I can't be mad at that. I'm more mad at them for throwing the fucking.
There's a time and place. There's a time and place, like Phil said. If this was 1-on-1, that's your warrant. That's where you do it. You don't do it in an 8-man tag match with some of your best professional wrestlers in your company and 100%. Taking away from the match.
Yeah,
the fans weren't paying attention to the match though, so fuck the fans because
of what Cody did.
Whoever tries to start a wave, the wave has nothing to do with what Cody did.
That happened after the belt throw.
Whoever starts trying to do a wave is a moron.
Yeah, especially watching an AEW show because there's so much going on that you have to pay attention. There isn't going to be a rest hold for 2 minutes straight, right? You're going to see something you've never seen before, or you're going to see an
shame on everyone in the front row. Shame on all you guys. The first 3 rows there, shame on all you. They're all doing it. Shame on all of them.
It's people trying to be the show, instead of being a part of the show. We get you want to cheer, you want to do all that stuff. That's amazing. It adds so much to the show, but there's a line and you can't cross it. Don't become distracting.
Exactly.
That's all I'm
Go do
saying.
that.
Like,
Go do that in
itself.
WWE. There's a company you can go do that in. Go do that in their company. They don't give a fuck. Go do it over there.
Exactly.
You got to think that, like, I get that Cody throws the belt. Once they threw it back is when, again, Cody shouldn't have thrown it until he was back in the ring, right? And it was just his time. He hits his body slam and he throws the belt, right? But I just think that the crowd should be more responsible for that. Like, throwing a belt back is it's just the kind of shit they
They're
used
both
to
at
do
fault.
to Cena.
They're both.
But like you said, like Cena, they threw a shirt back. Like, throwing a belt back, God forbid, what if you missed and you hit a kid in the front row with a metal
What if
belt
a
buckle?
cut Aubrey's head and they had to stop the
Like-
match to fix her head?
Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, it's just yeah, they don't give a fuck unless you chant AEW CM Punk, then they care. I mean, I tend to think Chicago's an overrated wrestling crowd. I know that they're rowdy, but I don't think they're the best wrestling crowd, because to me, a best wrestling crowd is one that's really in like
They're
in
better
the
than
action,
this.
into the action, paying attention. Like, Japanese fans to me are the best wrestling crowd. They're not going to be the loudest, but they're going to tell you everything that fucking happened in that match. So that's how I judge wrestling fans. I just think they're both at fault. And I think if Cody's going to continue down this track, it's a dangerous game to play, because he's not John Cena. Like, as much as he wants to be him, I don't think he has the charisma of John Cena. I don't think he has the promo ability to turn a crowd like John Cena does. I think he's a great promo, but I think once people hate Cody, they're just going to hate him. It's not going to be a split. Let's go Cody. Cody sucks. It's just going to be Cody sucks. Like, so he's
Yeah,
playing
but,
this
I mean-
dangerous game with his career.
I mean, the one thing that we should definitely talk about is how incredible the match was. Besides all the shenanigans, right? We see some just some great action from everybody, and you know, it's one of those matches where going in, it had so much anticipation, right? So much hype behind it, because you're like, man, these 8 guys are all so goddamn good in the ring, and I think that even with all the bullshit, it still delivered. It was still an incredible match. And the surprising thing, Andrade gets the pinfall and gets the victory, and the heel team wins. So do you think how much longer do you think this feud goes? Do you think that maybe this does lead to FTR getting those belts off the Lucha Bros or something like that?
Pac and Andrade can tag team all they want, man. I want to see those two go at it like 2-on-2 with other people in the company.
Well, I think
those guys
Pac's going to go after Cody now.
Yeah.
If I saw anything from that story, which is beautiful because Pac's kind of like a face now, it's that Cody super kicked Pac by accident. But the whole can they coexisting? How do you get Pac to be elevated to an even more popular star? Put him against Cody Rhodes. So I think that's going to happen. But like, I want to see fucking Andrade wrestle Pac every fucking night that they wrestle. Like, I just want to see it over and over again. Ray Phoenix is a walking video game. Malachi is great. Like, I want to see Malachi in a feud though with someone that can go like him.
And
like,
I want to see like where he cuts.
We
these,
haven't got
like,
to see him
vignettes.
wrestle.
Yeah,
we haven't got to see him wrestle. Like, Cody is I say it all the time. It's 100% overproduced WWE style. There's always collusion. Arn Anderson's always in the ring, falling down, doing stuff. Like, that's a Cody match. I want Malachi in a wrestling match, like a wrestling feud. Just let him go, ring the fucking bell, and see what happens. I would love to see Malachi versus Jungle Boy, like a feud like that. Like, give me that.
Yeah.
You know, Arn Anderson's just in the ring, falling.
Well, it's fucking every time Cody wrestles, there's an Arn spot. Like, every
Me too.
time.
We're so for people in the Twitch chat and for people who are listening back on a podcast or on YouTube. So, we obviously in the main event, right? It all goes to shit. The belt stuff, the FTR gets in the ring, and then it's Arn and Tully, and then what's the Spanish dude?
Andrade.
The name that comes out with Andrade. He comes in and he gets thrown out of the ring. And then Alex and Ant goes, "This is how you can tell it's a Cody match, bro." There's 47 things going on. Like, Jesus Christ.
Well, and that's why, listen, so again, Kyle, I was just playing the devil's advocate. Like, I get why Cody did it, but I get why you hate it that he did it. But it's a Cody Rhodes match. So, of course, all the attention needs to be on him. Right? Like, that's.
So in that moment of the match, though, it didn't need to happen.
It does, but I know, but it's Cody Rhodes. So that's what everything has to be collusions and convoluted, and everything needs to be on him, and it needs to be a bigger story. That's just how he is, and we have to get used to it. I don't agree with it. I don't think he should be in the ring with Pac and
it's not just hate on Cody Rhodes. If anybody that did that, if it was someone else that did it, I would be shitting on them right now. If it was Penta that was doing it, I'd be sitting here shitting on Penta. But because Cody did it,
I have less of a problem with Cody doing that than I do that you have Arn and Tully in the ring again. This is like the third time in the fucking row. No one's throwing a punch at each other. They're just doing the old man.
They can't have a match. They have to do this. This is the only thing they can do.
I don't give a fuck. Then put them in the bingo hall and let them do that. Like I like literally not even wrestle in a bingo hall. Like just put them in the bingo hall and let them fucking go at it there. I don't need them in the ring. I don't need Arn Anderson in the ring unless he's pulling out the Glock. If you're going to pull out the Glock, you're cool. But then Arn didn't know where to go. He's shuffling all over the place. Like it's like 2 minutes of Arn looking like a fucking offensive lineman. I'm like, what is happening?
Hey, he's a coach.
Get out. Get out of the ring. Get out of the fucking ring.
I just want to see him and Mike Ditka go one-on-one.
There's one Blanchard I wanted to see in AEW. It wasn't Tully.
That's a good point. So one last thing before we get out of here. So we had Danielson versus Colt Cabana, and the match was what it was, right? It wasn't the greatest match in the world, but it was still a really fun match. But the thing that everybody's talking about, and I want to get your guys' opinion on, is so Danielson said he's going to kick everybody's fucking head in. And not only did he do that to Cabana, but he kicked the tooth out of his mouth. So Kyle, what do you think about him kicking the tooth out of his mouth and then holding it up as like a trophy?
That was insane. I can't I knew like the boot shots, like whenever he does that, where he holds your two arms and he does the boots to the face, is like he's kicking your head in. That's it. It's a hard looking move, but this time it literally must have connected really hard on Colt because the camera zoomed in on the mat and it shows Brian picking up a piece of his tooth, and then they go back to Colt, and Colt's literally, they got at the perfect moment where he's spitting out a tooth, and it's like landing on his lip, and I'm like, oh my god. He legitimately kicked Colt's tooth out, and it just adds more of this vicious badass side to Bryan Danielson. This is just, it keeps building and building and building. This is so perfect for this build that's gonna lead to Hangman's match, and it's gonna be that moment when Kenny and Bryan squared off in New York and the whole crowd went nuts. As soon as that bell rings between Bryan and Hangman, it's going to be one of those moments where the crowd is just going to erupt as soon as the bell rings. So,
and the pop that Hangman got when he came out after during that segment or whatever, it's like you're reminded, like, oh no, this dude's a big deal. Like he is 100% our champion. Everyone's behind him, and everyone's behind this Daniel Bryan heel turn. I know on I think Busted Open, he said that it's not a heel turn. He's just being more aggressive, but in this storyline, he's playing the heel.
He dropped the fickle line.
Oh yeah, dude, hysterical. But Ant, what'd you think about everything?
I love, and I was about to say it too. At least AEW has a dentist in the house. I didn't know Britt Baker was a dentist. They don't mention it at all. But
do you think she's back there with Doc Samson? Yeah, whenever there's like a tooth thing, he's like, "All right, Doc, let me in."
Yeah, I mean,
she's got to have a kit with her. She's got to have a to-go kit, like a to-go dentist kit.
You know, like when that happened, like if that would have happened at the end of the night, like, you know, she's packing up her stuff, like, yeah, I'm gonna go hang out with people afterwards, and then I got my flight in the morning, so she's like packing her bag, and then she looks up and she sees a tooth, and she's like, she goes and she unpacks her kit, and she's like, all right, I'll meet you in the
Adam, I gotta stay. I'm gonna be late.
I love this aggressive side of Bryan Danielson. I fucking love it. And the tooth just added to it. Colt Cabana was my least favorite match I was looking forward to of Danielson's, right? Because like we get Prez, and then we get, you know, Silva, and then we get Stu, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we get the whole fucking crew that can wrestle. And I mean, Colt Cabana to me, he's good. I don't know. He just has never done it for me. So I was happy to see him get his face kicked in. I'm really enamored by the fact that somehow, some way, Bryan Danielson makes people boo him. Like,
It's incredible, right?
Because I still watch him like, God, he's fucking the best wrestler in the world.
Right.
And then he does something, and I even like Colt Cabana. I'm like, God, what a scumbag! Like I was like, what the fuck, dude? I love it, and I like this WWE stuff. That I do the underdog story. I can see that, but to me, he's not an underdog. He's the best wrestler in the world, and the beauty of AEW is they're putting him in everyone's hometown, so they know he's going to get mostly booed.
So who's from Atlanta?
Which again,
Alan Angels and Anna Jay. So he's probably fighting Anna Jay next week.
Okay, so Anna Jay for sure. Okay, gotcha.
That'd be hot.
Yeah, no, I think it's Alan Angels is from
but
Atlanta.
he is the master of his craft, Jeff. I agree, and that is why I think AEW is the best company, because they're doing something smart again, where they know wrestling crowds follow trends. So if it becomes cool to boo Bryan Danielson, they realize that even after he does this whole Dark Order thing about in their hometowns, by the time he gets to Hangman Page, that crowd's going to be 100% Hangman Page, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the beauty of booking. I think it's smart. I love that they're doing it. And I love that Danielson looks like a threat that we don't know if Hangman's going to have a successful defense, right? Like, we all think he is, but is he? Like, that's a guy that if they put the belt on him, I'm not like, why did they put the belt on Bryan Danielson? Like, we wouldn't all be like, what the fuck? We'd just be like, holy shit, like, that happened. And AEW loves shocking people. You know, everyone's got a lengthy title reign. Do I think Hangman deserves a lengthy title reign? Yes, but eventually molds get broken.
Yeah, I think Hangman's going to be the one to break the mold, whether it's to Danielson or to MJF. I can see him losing it at Double or Nothing. I think the story was the climb for Hangman, and he doesn't necessarily need the title for a long time, especially considering Jericho held it for a while.
Yeah.
Then Moxley held it for a while, and then Kenny held it for almost a year. So I think maybe Hangman, I mean, sucks for him, but I think that he'll be the short one, and then the one after it will kind of go back.
They are on year 3, right? Because they just had their 2-year anniversary when we were in Philly. They are on year 3, and they've only had 4 world champions.
Yeah, 4.
It's because they know how to treat a world title like a world title.
Now they have 4, but they had 3.
Yeah.
World titles mean something in this company. It's great to see.
Oh, it does. But at the same time, if you want a real sports feel, like they say, and this is me, again, just playing devil's advocate, because I think the show's more interesting when we don't all agree on everything, is in the UFC or in other fights in boxing, I could be the champion for 5 years, and I just got to get caught once, and then I'm not the champion
stop watching
anymore.
boxing now. You know?
Yeah, but like in UFC, all titles mean something. But in the UFC, when Ronda Rousey ran through everyone, and when she lost the belt, everyone was like, "Holy fuck!" Right? Like, it just takes one match, it takes one fight, and if you're going with the real sports feel, how many times are you watching the NFL and it's, man, any given Sunday this can happen.
Unless you're a Jets fan, and then it never happens.
And then it's every single Sunday.
I don't believe the belt should. I don't believe the belt should be held. Like every reign's got to be a long reign. If it warrants a good title change, then 100%, I'm for it.
And you know what? Sometimes, like, Stone Cold Steve Austin didn't hold the belt long all the time, and some of his shorter reigns were more memorable than the longer reigns. It's all about the story that you tell. Right? Like, Sasha Banks is a prime example, but it's all about, like, the story you tell within that title reign. Not everyone needs to hold a title for a year. Do I like that they value their championships? Yes, I love it. But at the same time, everyone's expecting now Hangman to be the champion till All Out, or the champion till next year's Revolution. You got to break that mold to make shocking things like, oh, this can fucking change in the drop of a hat. You don't you don't know what's going to happen with AEW. And I think they're really good with doing that with television. And if they do it with a championship, I think it even furthers the company even more. Like to the point where you're like, okay, like anything can happen on Dynamite or Rampage.
I think you guys have to give a big shout out in the chat right now because I know we've incorporated the Rant with Ant logo here. I think someone in the chat.
Yeah, we see Issa. What's up, Issa?
Shout out to Issa in the chat. Shout out to Wade in the chat.
Shout
out
Wade.
to Ascended,
Jeff,
Jeff,
Ascended, Allie,
Adam, Allie,
Jacky,
Infinity,
Strange, Infinity,
Jacky, Mama POV,
Edward,
Ed,
Adam.
Big shout outs to the Rant Foundation.
That lasted about as long as my sex life.
We'll be back in January. That means this January. They're going to be
You
back.
never know when we'll be back. The one thing about Rant Foundation is you never know about Rant Foundation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was a big supporter of you guys. I remember watching every show. And I'm like, I'm so hyped for this.
Yeah.
It was fun. I mean, it was fun. The product fucking sucked ass, but it was fun.
Yeah.
I thought it was good.
No, like our product was better than the product we were watching. Was
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So any final thoughts on this week's AEW Dynamite and the stuff that's going forward? I'll start with you, Ant.
Kyle, I'm just so glad that I got you so wound up like I do in our regular chats.
Yeah.
So if anyone hangs out with us, this is such a normal thing that I'll get Kyle riled up, then Kyle gets Jacky riled up.
This is not hatred. This is discussion. This is wrestling discussion. I love getting it. We could sit here and go like, oh yeah, this is a great episode of Dynamite.
Because and a lot of times there's shit that I'm like, oh, we would work with you anytime, Issa.
Maybe.
There's just, for me, there's times that I agree, but I have to take the other end if my brain's going that way because it creates a discussion and it creates like a show that I don't want to listen to a show where everyone agrees. Like to me, it's like, okay, why isn't this just a one person show then? But tonight's Dynamite was great. I love having wrestling before Thanksgiving because like I'm not a big drinker. Everyone's out there getting hammered, shit faced, and I sat there with my best friends and I watched pro wrestling, and it was a fun show. I fell asleep for like 4 minutes, which was awkward, and I came down and missed all the entrances. I was like, oh, the title match is on, or the main event's on already. But it was a really, really fun night. And again, if you just take one segment, that CM Punk MJF is going to be one of the most memorable events of the year. Speaking of memorable events of the year, get ready for the first ever Elite POV award show.
Oh,
We decide that's happening tonight.
Yep.
That will be coming at the end
Our
of the year,
end of
obviously.
the year's awards.
But you guys will be voting on Wrestler of the Year, Match of the Year, Feud of the Year,
Promo of the year, which is probably going to be the one from tonight. Let's be honest.
Do I gotta wear a suit?
We're gonna make a whole big Google document. We're gonna put it out there.
We're gonna wear fancy clothes. I'm gonna wear a suit.
Of course you are. I will not be wearing a suit.
Yes,
I'll
I
wear
did it
some
one
sort of
time.
suit.
Yeah.
Well, right now you look like the fucking bad guy in Home Alone. You look like Joe Pesci.
I do.
Like,
Yeah,
what are you gonna fucking do, bro?
Yeah. You're not lying about that. But yeah, so keep a lookout for that on our social media. Kyle, any final thoughts for this week's Dynamite?
It was Dynamite. It was great. I thought it was a great episode. I see a lot of people in the chat like saying like, "Oh, I'd love to have a drink with you guys." Well, speaking of, make sure you guys are signed up to our Patreon because a special you want to see another side of us kind of thing. We're gonna have a pretty good. I don't know what we're gonna call it yet, but we're gonna have a really fun episode where we're just sitting and shooting the shit and drinking, so you guys can get a glance at firsthand of what it's going to be like when we all are together and we're all partying at a AEW event in a weekend.
It's called All Out in Chicago.
All Out 2022
because we're all going there.
Yeah. So as soon as we get a date in mind, keep an eye on the Patreon. Thank you to all our patrons. Shout out to our patrons.
Yeah,
who have
shout
all
out.
signed
Thank
out.
you, everybody. Patreon.com/ElitePOV. Great stuff coming.
We got
even more stuff in the works.
amazing NWO style shirt that Infinity made.
Yep.
One of my
only
favorite
available on Patreon.
You got to
Only
be in the
available to
$5 tier,
patrons.
and then you can get a shirt for $18.
Yep.
That's as low as we can go. Sorry, guys. I wanted to make it cheaper, but they won't let us.
Yes,
Um,
Ellie, our plans are as a entire team going
Yes.
to All Out. We're gonna try to make it an annual thing because, of course, we are all spread out as a team, different states. Kyle's in a different country, so we're gonna try to do it. That is our once a year hangout. So All Out, book your tickets because we will be there.
Yeah, I'm definitely happen. Jackie has the best smile though. She does, but she's not here, so you have to look at my smile. So welcome to the real world, okay?
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, guys, join the Patreon. We got a lot of fun shit coming up. Top Girl Talk will be coming out next month again. So in probably like 2 weeks, we'll probably record that with Jackie and Jamie. I'm gonna have my AEW journey coming out, and E-Federation fans, if you like GOW, if you like WoW, you're not going to want to miss what me and Kyle are doing. AEW Ground Zero. It's going to be your dream matchups once a month. And hey, maybe I'll just be drunk JR and I'll just, oh my God, what a suplex. And I might just do that the whole fucking time. I don't know. It depends what I'm drinking.
I'd sign
at
up
the
for
time.
that. I want to see that.
I'm going to wear a
I definitely-
cowboy hat. And I'm, oh my God.
I do have an update on the
call
Patreon.
Instead of Sammy Guevara, I'm going to call him Juventud Guerrera.
I do have an. So, unfortunately, there was I don't know how there was an error, but me and Strange sat down. Jamie Strange, our social media coordinator, we sat down and did a snack crate episode, and for some reason, I don't know why. I guess the gods just didn't want us to record it. 2 minutes in, it decided to cut out, and
It's because you guys are the snack.
We did
Yeah,
an
that's what it
entire
is.
open up a snack crate episode, and it cut out the 2 minutes. I don't know what happened. I couldn't have touched the screen because it cuts out when I'm holding the box in the air. So how it cut out still baffles me.
Technology, man.
I just don't know what happened. Unfortunately, I've sat there and thought about having to piece it together with something with Jamie, but we're just gonna nix it, toss it, and then when we get another snack crate, because we did subscribe to it, we'll release another one out to Patreon. So sorry to anyone that was expecting that.
And to make up for that video, I was talking to everybody beforehand. So at some point this month, when I get it, actually this Wednesday, I'm going to record it. I'm going to show you guys my wrestling collection for all Patreons.
Ooh.
We're going to make it available for everybody. If you're signed up for Patreon, even at the $1 tier, I'm going to give you this video just showing you the stuff that I have, the 8x10s, the autographed titles, whatever. I'm just going to show you guys my collection. I will be recording it next Wednesday.
And you guys will catch a new episode of Rant on Wrestling over on our YouTube this weekend. You guys want me to talk about Kenny Omega's run with the title, and I think one of the best runs in AEW short history. So I'll be covering that. So that will be coming out probably early next week. I will record it on Saturday.
Yeah, nice. And if you guys want to follow the show, it's at Elite POV. If you want to buy some of our great merchandise, it's ElitePOVmerch.com, Patreon.com/ElitePOV, Elite POV clips on Twitch. See, Jackie, I remembered. It's always you who brings it up, but I remembered this time. If you guys want to follow me personally, it's at Philium Elite. Kyle, let them know where they can follow you.
You can follow me at All Elite Kyle, where I tweet daily about trying to get Jamie Hayter's first Twitter like. It's going to happen one day, y'all. I guarantee you guys right now, I'm getting Jamie Hayter's first Twitter like. Actually, even if it's just a retweet, I think I'd be happy, to be honest. At this point.
Yeah, just attention. You just want attention.
Just give me a retweet, Jamie. That's all I'm asking.
Just notice me.
Just notice me. I'm going to become the
exactly.
biggest Jamie Hayter mark on the face of this planet. But
Become it. You already are.
Yeah. In the short 2 weeks. Even though I've always been a fan, just I've become a mark now. So
Yeah. Ant, where can they follow you?
Ant_is_elite. Follow me to have me. You'll see a lot of tweets about Bryce Harper's beard. I'm a man crush on Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
A lot of Jade, a lot of Ty Conti, and a lot of bad jokes about Vince McMahon and puke.
oh, I've seen that.
Yeah.
I've seen
Yeah.
He's got a puke.
Well, thank you guys for listening to another episode of Elite POV.
Well,
Whoa! Me and Ant
I
were doing
knew
it. Me and Ant were doing it.
Have you?
Listen, it is so hard to remember to do that. All right.
Why?
I'm just trying to
It's
close
our
the show.
thing. It's our thing.
We have 3 initials.
All right. Elite POV. Thank you for listening. And remember, you don't need a hat to be a cowboy.